Over the past 5 years, I've been given the opportunity to film some pretty amazing things. And my journey has taken me to some incredible places. Over this time, one of the things that I have put a lot of thought into is what I bring with me on these amazing journeys. All of the footage you are seeing here was shot by me in 3 different countries over the last year and a half. And one thing stayed the same between all of these adventures. And that was the gear that I was consistently bringing with me. The gear that was in my bag every time that enabled me to capture these beautiful moments. And so that's what I want to share with you today, to help you on your journey in capturing beautiful moments of your own.
Okay, cool. Setup video time. Now, I just wanted to go through for this video what I would consider my run and gun setup. Not gonna go and say that anybody's actually asked for this information, but I think it's kind of cool. And as an adventure sports videographer primarily, I put a lot of time, effort, thought, and work into making myself a setup that I think is as functional as can be, while also minimizing bulk, weight, and complexity to make it easy to pull out of a bag and use in a whole bunch of scenarios on the go right away without any fluff or hassle, but at the same time not limit the quality of imagery and content that I am able to capture. So without further ado, let me rip into it. This is my bag. So every time I go out into the bush with a team or an athlete or a product to capture, this is what I'm putting on. The reason why I bought it is because it has a flip top. So other than my camera gear, which is put into this side pocket where I can keep all my lenses and my camera and any other bits and pieces that are sensitive or I want to be padded out well, I can also, in this top compartment, on top of that, fit all sorts of other things. So always on me, I keep my camera strap in my bag. So that's the first thing. This is a Peak Designs quick release camera strap, and it just clips onto the 2 dongles that are on the bottom of my camera's cage. So that's the first thing that I always have with me. Second thing in my camera bag, normally it's on my camera, is this. This is a Falcam F22 mushroom grip. I only have a mount for it on the side of my camera right now, but it's really useful for helping me use the camera with either of my hands. So I press record. If I need to use my left hand to hold the camera, I can do that because I have a mounting bracket for this on the left side of my cage, the left side of my camera. If I need to swap between hands, I often only film in landscape mode, but if I need to switch between my hands, I can do that easily and quickly with this mount here without having to worry about potentially having my camera in my left hand slip out because I don't have a good place to hold it. It's also just great to be able to, run around with your camera and have a solid handle to hold onto that's not necessarily your grip that you hold on to with your right hand. And with Falcam's F22 mount, you press the button, slide it right on, and then when you're done using it, you can slide it off again. It's specifically for that use case of ease of use. If I need it, it's easy to put on. If I don't need it, it's easy to take off. It does not take me any time. Do it on the go. Super running gun, super simple, and that is what's important to me. So those 2 things are either in this bag or on my camera. That's pretty much it. They don't ever really go into my big bag, which is over here. That just contains all my other side gear that I run if I need to. Opening up the top of my bag here, this is where I would put stuff specific for the job. I do have a couple of things that I keep in here always, namely this nice big microfiber cloth, another nice big microfiber cloth, and that's it. That I just keep these because a good friend of mine, William Patino, who is a man I've worked for a little bit now, and I really respect. When I have gone out with him, I learned very quickly that when you're shooting in a variety of conditions with a variety of different weather variables, it's always good to have a microfiber cloth with you, and quite a large one at that, to keep your lens dry and clean consistently. I've been in situations with him where we're shooting a waterfall and you're just scrubbing your lens constantly between shots. If you're taking photos, you're pretty much just covering your lens the whole time and rubbing it, making sure it's completely dry, and then taking your hand away and taking a photo as quickly as you can, and you're straight back onto the microfiber cloth. For video, it is much the same. Obviously, to a lesser degree because you're constantly shooting video, but it's really important to have one of these on me at all times, so that every time I get into a situation where there's dust, or there's rain, or there's mist or spray, I always have something to quickly and efficiently clean my camera lens, and I have enough material so that my microfiber never gets too wet to use. Over here in my side compartment, I have something I've recently acquired actually, and it's one of my favorite little things in this kit, and it's less useful when I'm filming adventure sports and more useful just for me every day in shooting, but I like to keep it on me regardless because it just comes in handy sometimes when you least expect it. And I use it for lights on occasion as well. If I am going to a shoot and it's getting dark and I know I might need a light on a specific spot where I know my subject's coming through, and that is this wonderful little, and the brand is going to be hard to pronounce, don't even know how to pronounce that. It's a Chinese, just a generic Chinese company, Xiletu FM5C2. All it is a mini tripod with a decent fluid head. It's got a little bit of extension on the legs, just like that, so you can make it a little bit taller, but at the end of the day, it fits in my water bottle holder in my backpack. It's heavy because it's not carbon, but it was cheap and it's efficient. I got a mount on the side there where I can mount a light with the camera on it, just a generic cold shoe mount. Sometimes I'll put my mic there, sometimes I'll put my phone mount there, and I'll use that as my monitor or whatever. But yeah, it's just a really great generic little tripod that is a nice portable, pocketable size for me to throw in the water bottle compartment on my bag. Additionally, it does have a thread there, not a 1/4-20, I believe this is a 1/4-12, slightly larger thread. What I'm planning to do there is get like a monopod pole and thread that onto this, so that then I can take this, and if I need, I can take a little monopod extension and just slip it in next to it in my water bottle holder there, and I can have the functionality of both a small tripod and a monopod on me all the time. And I think that's going to be super helpful in case I ever need that, and it makes it very small, portable, and it gives me a lot of multifunctionality without having to carry a heap of extra gear. So that's definitely an upgrade that I'm looking to make soon, is just getting something with a bit more extension, so that when I'm trying to get big crowd shots or have my camera up high and move it side to side or whatever, just in the occasional circumstance where that would be useful for me, I can do that without having an entire extra piece of equipment with me. I can just get a extendable pole, thread it onto the bottom of this, and I wouldn't even have to take my camera off my tripod if I don't want to. I could thread it onto there. This is an Arca Swiss mount, which my cage has one on the bottom of it, so it's pretty much just plug and play, as modular and easy as I can possibly get it, so that when I'm in the moment, don't have to think about it. I don't have to rig anything up. I just put it on and I go. That's the goal for me with all of my kit in my field, is to make sure that everything I'm using is as easy to use and quick to apply as possible. So I do not have to think about it, and it doesn't stop me from getting that perfect shot when things are moving fast and the moments are just flying by. Now, the next thing in my camera bag are a variety of nicks and knacks. So in this top compartment, I always keep a third microfiber cloth. This one's a little different. It's more like a towel. It's actually my favorite one, and I have no idea where I got it. I cannot remember at all. Filta is what it says on the tag. It does snag really easily. You can see here there's like a lot of little snags of fabric that have started to fray away from it, but no matter what, it's always so soft, and I find it does the best job at helping absorb water or moisture that has accumulated on my lens or my rear viewfinder or my screen or anything like that, and just sort of drying off the camera in general when I need it. And so this is my go-to. I'll often stick it on my jacket when I have that on, in like a breast pocket or anything, so that when I need it, unzip, pull it out of my breast pocket, bam, go clean the camera lenses, tuck it back in. That's my go-to. Now, moving on, the next thing I have in the top mount is a blower. This is awesome. Again, just an AliExpress buy. I got one with a rubber tip, so if I'm ever blowing my sensor or anything, and for some reason I'm nudged or jostled around and I accidentally bump the sensor, I'm not gonna scratch it. Obviously that would still mean I then need to go in and likely clean the sensor with a proper sensor cleaning kit, but at least I haven't ruined my camera irreversibly. So that's the next thing that I have in my kit. Super simple little blower. It looks like a grenade, which is kind of just fun. And I use it all the time, blowing off my lenses, my viewfinder, my rear screen, the whole camera. I use this on, and it's been absolutely great. And I definitely recommend having one of these if you are a photographer or videographer, just no matter what. The second to last thing I have in this top case is just my mic pouch. So I have my lav mic on me and on the camera now, but I also have the second lav mic in here, the second transmitter, and then I have its various charging cables and its little lav attachments, which I found are not actually that good, and I do not like, as well as some replacement little dead cat wind blockers. That's the second to last thing. The last thing really is my batteries. I always keep 2 spare fully charged batteries on me, no matter where I'm going. If I don't know how much battery I'm gonna need, but I know I'm not going out for more than like a half day, I'll always have 2 spare batteries. The battery I have in there lasts for about 2-3 hours of pretty consistent shooting. And then I have these 2 as backup. So I have in here, if I'm shooting really hard out, at least round about 6 hours of continuous go filming with me in my bag. And that is super important for me, that I have these 2 with me all the time. And I'll never go out to a shoot without making sure I have 2 fully charged batteries spare in my backpack with me. And then the little bonus item here is, of course, 1, 2, 3 spare microfibers, little ones, and the camera control cable for my gimbal that you are on right now. That is all that I have in my top mount. Normally I have the tracking module of the gimbal in the top compartment of my bag as well, just to keep it safe and make sure it doesn't fall off my gimbal when I have my gimbal mounted on this bag or packed up away in one of my other bags as a piece of luggage, because I have had that fall off in the past, and it's really stressful when you get to a shoot and you look in through your gear and you pull out your gimbal and the tracking module is gone, and then you got to go through and find it and just hope it didn't fall off somewhere and somehow make its way out of your bag. So that stays in here as well. Now, that's all for the top compartment. Moving on to the side. This is where I keep most of my camera gear. Because I shoot Micro Four Thirds, I can fit 3 to 4 lenses and my camera body all in this little compartment here. Right now, in this camera compartment here, I have what I would take to a shoot most of the time. That is, aside from potentially the addition of this lens up here. This lens up here, we'll get closer, you can see, is my Voigtlander f.95 lens. This thing's great. The downside is it is a 25mm, just a 50mm equivalent, so it's a little narrow. And then it's also not weather sealed, and it's manual focus, so I don't get any autofocus. It's not weather sealed, and it's quite heavy, and it's a little narrow. So if I know I'm going to be shooting in really dark conditions, I will bring this. But most of the time, this stays at home on my shelf or in my big bag here. I will go through what's in this bag at another point, but for now, we're sticking to my running gun build. So the next piece of equipment I have, as we get into lenses and actual pieces of camera gear here, is my Super Zoom. This is something I'm looking to upgrade. However, this one has been a trusty lens for me for going on 2 years now. This is my Lumix 14-140 mega ISO stabilized super zoom lens. It has a little just clear UV filter on it to protect the element from dust. It doesn't do the best job, but it does stop it from getting scratched when I'm bush bashing out in the wilderness. This is go-to lens when I'm run and gun and I'm not sure what focal length I'm gonna need to use. So if I'm going between dense forest, ocean, and mountaintop all in the same 3-hour period, this is probably what I'll end up sticking on my camera and not taking off. Because when this is on my Micro Four Thirds and light isn't an issue, it's just excellent. It's f4 to f5.6. I just stick it at f5.6 and forget about it. And it's the equivalent of a 28 to 280 millimeter full frame lens. It's small, it's relatively lightweight, it's stabilized, and this stabilization, because it's a Lumix branded lens, will stack with my IBIS of my sensor, creating a telephoto lens that is still useful all the way at its maximum focal distance, handheld, as long as you have a relatively good tree or knee to brace against. So that's the first lens that I have in my bag. I am selling it. I want to upgrade to the Olympus f4 12-100 Pro because it's weather sealed and the glass is going to be a little nicer in that one. But for now, this is my super zoom. The last lens that I carry all the time. Now there used to be 4 lenses in here. I upgraded to this lens for my low light. It's a 1.79 millimeter Leica that you're looking through at me right now. I used to carry that lens up there, that Voigtlander, and my Leica 15 at the same time. I don't anymore, so now I only have 2 lenses that I carry on my running gun instead of 3. The last lens I have that I always carry on running gun, no matter what, is my telephoto. This is a 2-600 equivalent full frame. This is the Lumix 1-300 Mark II. It's got really great autofocus. It's power ISO, so again, it's stabilized, stacks with the sensor stabilization. It's lightweight, especially compared to Lumix's Leica version of this, which is a 1-400, even though that has more focal range, a greater focal range, and a slightly better aperture. It's heavy and it's much bigger. This is the pinnacle for me of a lightweight telephoto lens for my running gun setup. It's got incredibly clear optics and it's relatively fast. I think it sits at only f5.6 at 600 mil, which is not amazing, but it's not too bad either. And mostly it's just lightweight and it's weather sealed. Super easy to use, not a huge lens. Got smooth focus pulling and really substantial range, so that any scenario I'm in, I know that I'm pretty much getting just about the farthest telephoto reach I can with a lens that's so light and easy to carry. This is actually one of the lightest lenses in my kit. It's even lighter than this super zoom, believe it or not, despite its slightly bigger size. And yeah, that's just about it. Sometimes I'll carry a couple more things in this bag, like some SDs and whatnot, but in terms of what I carry of camera gear, that is about it. Now, last but not least, the bag itself. This bag is a Lowepro Photosport 300 All-Weather 2. It's a 30-liter all-weather backpack. It comes with, in the bottom of it here, a little backpack cover to make sure that if it starts raining, you have a waterproof covering for your bag. It has flip top on the front of it here. I have my modified Peak Designs mount. Now I've modified this so that I can use it with my cage. My cage is the only cage I could find for this camera that was not a Falcam specific cage and locking me in that ecosystem. This is the only alternative I could find with an Arca Swiss mount that is front to back, not side to side. So this slides right into here now that I've removed the pin with the little locking mechanism, so it won't lock in here. But when I'm running around with my strap on this camera or on my neck and I just don't want it hanging there, I just throw it in here. If it falls out, it's around my neck anyway, but it takes that weight off my neck, off the strap, and it stops from swinging everywhere. I just mount it to this bag. And then when I need to use it, don't even have to press the button. The button's gone. I took that out. I just slide it right out, start shooting. Great. Excellent system, super easy to use, does not get in my way at all. Absolutely the best thing I've been able to do is buy this cage for this camera because it solved so many issues I had. and streamlined my whole workflow in the field by a lot. The last thing I would put in this bag when I'm out on a shoot is whatever I need for that shoot. If I know I'm gonna be out for 8 hours or overnight, believe it or not, with a bit of ultralight, like hyperlight camping kit, to save on space and weight, I have fit food, a change of clothes, a rain jacket, a tent, and a sleeping bag with a camping stove and utensils all into the top of this bag. This is why I love this backpack. The camera stuff goes in the bottom, and then there's still a heap of space on top left of that 30 liters for all sorts of stuff. And if you expand it by pulling the top all the way up and not stuff sacking it like it's intended to be, you can fit a lot more than you think in this bag. And that means that when I need it, I can have my running gun set up, enough batteries to last me just long enough, and all my camping supplies and food in the same place, one bag. It's lightweight, it's weather resistant, and it's ready to go. Super simple for that my running gun workflow, making sure that I have all my essential equipment and anything I need to, survive out in the wilderness with me at once. And that is the goal of my setup here with this camera bag, and that is what I run all the time. Any of the work that you've seen of mine where I'm out and about in the wilderness or in the ocean, in the woods, on the mountain, this is with me, and that's the gear that was in it. Whatever lens is on there, and then my super zoom or my wide angle low light, and then my telephoto are in this bag with all the gear I just showed you, and that's it. The other good thing about this bag is if I need to, I can throw my drone in there as well. So that's what I've done in the past as well a couple of times. So I've just taken my drone out of my drone bag, and I have a Mavic Air, just the original. It's like an 8-year-old drone. It's not amazing, but it shoots 4K in 60 frames per second, and that's good enough. And I'll take that out of that bag there. I'll put that in there with the controller. It uses my phone. It's one of the old ones, so it still uses my phone in pairing with the controller for the screen to see the visuals. And then that's it. I have my drone in my bag. I'll stick one extra battery in the top for my drone, and I'll have 40 minutes of drone flying, all my camera gear. I can still easily on top of that drone fit some food, some clothes, a sleeping bag or a sleeping pad if I need, and then I'm good to go out into the wilderness, not for an overnight, but still for a full day. And if I really needed to, I think I could still fit all of the stuff I mentioned previously for an overnight expedition and my drone in this bag if I just played some Tetris. Now, in terms of what I use on my camera, I took this out of the bag because I leave this on my camera pretty much all the time. And I oftentimes leave my lanyard hooked up as well, but I don't always. This is gonna be really low quality footage when I film it in a second. I'm just gonna overlay the audio. For my camera setup, I have a Zukato cage specifically for the G9 Mark II. Now it's deconstructed, right? Initially I had it all built up, but I actually only needed one extra cold shoe mount for my setup, as well as one mounting spot for NATO rail. I made a mistake. I bought a Falcam F22 instead of a NATO rail accessory, so I did have to buy an adapter that screwed onto the NATO rail that uses this anyway, but it's not very big. It doesn't get in the way. It's not actually a big deal, and I like the quick release of this probably better anyway, but still, I needed one cold shoe mount, one NATO rail, and a front to back facing Arca Swiss with more than one quarter 20 underneath it, so that when I want to mount this to things like the gimbal, I can just screw it on to DJI's weird, close but not quite Arca Swiss mounting system that does mount on this gimbal, on the native bracket for it. So those were sort of what I was looking for when I was going into buying this cage. Now this was a really expensive cage. It retailed for about 500 New Zealand dollars, which is a bit steep, but it's been amazing so far. It's very, very lightweight. It's super modular, so it has 3 other pieces that I've taken off. It has a bit that goes over the top that gives you another 3 cold shoe mounts and 4 NATO rail mounting points, as well as 3 quarter 20s and a quarter 16, the bigger thread size, and then it also gives you another cold shoe mount all the way on the right side, right over the top of the grip, and then it's got a brace that comes down in the middle. It's really an ingenious design, and it's a great cage. However, for my use case, I really only need the L bracket. I just need it to have that NATO rail mount as well. Maybe I could have gone out and just bought an L bracket, but from everything I did, and I did days of research before I made this purchase, this was the only cage that both had ample NATO rail mounts, opportunities for me to expand with modularity if I needed, as well as a front to back Arca Swiss mount instead of those side to side ones that so many brands are using at this point, such as Small Rig and Tilta. So that's why I bought this cage in particular, even though it was a little bit pricier. Now, on the camera, I have on the top a phone mount so that I can use my phone, and I mentioned this in a previous video, as a Bluetooth monitor. It hooks right up through the Lumix Sync app is what I'm using with G9 II, because the G9 II camera has not been updated to use the Lumix Flow yet, unfortunately. But I'm using the Lumix Sync app for the Bluetooth. There is a little latency there, but it's nothing too bad. And then I just mount my phone right on top. And with the bonus of being Bluetooth, I can just take it off. I can move my phone anywhere and still see through my camera. I can then also combine that with like the Force Mobile for the DJI gimbal. And then if I need to, I can use my phone to basically control the gimbal like the tracking would when you're locked into somebody's face, and track runners or cyclists or whatever, if I'm just setting it up for a point and shoot shot, but I still want some movement side to side or up and down or whatever. That's really easy for me to do. On that note, what else I have in my camera is the Leica 9mm 1.7 on the front. It is an awesome low light, very versatile weather sealed lens. It's also a macro lens, so I never have to worry about getting too close to a subject with having to fall out of focus. It literally focuses at about 2 millimeters from the front glass. This lens has a minimum focal distance of 0.1 meters, meaning that from the sensor with this lens on, the minimum focal distance is 0.1 meters, 10 centimeters. So with the addition of the lens being somewhere near 10 centimeters long, you're pretty much able to have tack sharp focus from the front of the glass of the lens, which is wild. So super versatile in terms of low light, and it's nice and wide, and I never have to worry about getting too close to a subject to a point where they fall out of focus like I did with my Leica 15mm in the past. On top of that, I have, like I said, my Zucato G9 Mark II or / S5II, S5IIX cage. Works for this camera, works for the S5 II, it works for the S5IIX. I'm sure it'll work for probably one of the SR series or the R series cameras as well. Haven't checked that, but a lot of them are really similar in body shape and size, so I wouldn't be surprised if it works now for one of those two. They just haven't updated the website yet. And then on my right, your left side of the cage, I have mounted the little rail section for the Falcam F22 quick release. Almost always I have the Falcam F22 mushroom handle on that quick release as well. And then I have on the cold shoe on that right side the receiver for my Rode Wireless Go 2 microphone. I'm looking at upgrading that soon as well to a better quality mic, but for now, that's what I have on there. And that's my whole setup. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. Please ask me questions. If you want to see what I carry in my big camera bag, this video is getting a little long, so I'll probably do that in another video. So comment down below, message me on Instagram, send me a message somehow and let me know if you'd like to see that video of the wider gear that I carry when I'm, say, going away to a remote location to do shooting for a number of days, and I'd be more than happy to show you that. Let me know as well if you'd like to see anything regarding my editing setup, more workflow stuff, how I manage my storage, how I prioritize bits and pieces of gear, how I do all of this for such a low cost. Let me know. For now, this has been my running gun setup. I hope you enjoyed and have learned something from this video. Subscribe if you want to, but have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week, no matter what. And maybe I'll see you in another video sometime soon.